Okay, so welcome to part 2 where we will continue doing the improving the mesh and making it look a bit more realistic. So ideally what we want is something that has small spacings near the leading edge and near the trailing edge so that it can capture the fine trailing edge. And this spacing here, since the cells here are really small and thin, we want the spacing on the top surface and the bottom surface of the wing to decrease, and so that the jump in the area of the cells do not go too high. One more thing we want to take care of. So basically, after doing all the spacings, like I said in the previous tutorial video, we need to remove this misoriented or the cells which does not look very square type. So if I go into solid view, it's a better view of what's happening. Okay, so before we do that, there's a let's go ahead and do that actually. So first of all, I'm going to go and split this block by using a split block, just a regular split block from the visible edges, just how we were doing before. I'm going to split it here and move it just a bit back, maybe up to here where it starts turning. So the same mesh is out of. Do you want to compute? Yes. And what I'm going to do is so the grid there is now split, and what I want to do is just split the face. So remember that this whole thing is now 1, 2, 3, and 4 blocks. So if I turn on the blocks here, I'll get 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. Turn off the edges just to see 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. Okay, let's click back the edges on. And what I want now is, instead of selecting the blocks, I want to select the faces, and I want them to go inwards, not around the block. So I'm going to select these two, and also I want to do the same thing, similar kind of thing here. Okay, and click. But before we do that, there's a little mistake here. See how these curves are green? They're associated to the curves here. Somehow we haven't forgotten or to do that, so I'm going to turn on the curves and just associate these two to this one, and these two to this one, and just copy the edge parameters as well. So link them. Link this as well. Okay, now I'm quite happy with that. And so let's go ahead and do what we did before, and all grid, select these two faces, select the other two faces, and click apply. Okay, so now we get this division here, which is going to improve the mesh quality in all the regions. So what we can do is just put some edge parameters here. I have turned on the internal edges, which is coming to. Okay, so I'm just going to here and say about 5 elements, and it's going to copy that to all the parallel edges, including these here. And I have to give some new dimensions to the, so this is 10, this is 10, so I'm quite happy with that. It's going to be a coarse mesh. And if I turn off the edges now and go to solid view, you see the cells that were here like disoriented have improved now, and we can move around these vertices using, and I'm going to turn off the premesh and move vertices, move vertex, and I'm going to move these to the place where they will be most representative of a square. So it's like a trial and error kind of thing. Once you do a few of them, so I'm going to fix my Z direction actually. Oh, where did they go? Oh, hello. Okay. Internal is off. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to fix my Z direction and just move the vertices to the right places, where they are most likely to be 45 degree. And if I go and pre-mesh now, I get something that's so a lot of times you have to just turn off stuff and turn on again. So pre-mesh. Okay, so now I have like quite good parallelogram kind of thing going on here, and basically a much better mesh on this side of the wing, the tip. I have to do the same thing. I'll just quickly do that. The same kind of thing going on here, and what I'm going to do is just click the edges back on. Okay, there's some cells here we can still improve. Let's drag it a bit more up and more this way towards the -6. Alright, so if I want to improve further, I can just drag this one a bit inwards, and bam, we have a nice mesh there. So it captures the roundness of the leading edge with 10 cells in this block or this edge. But like I said, I want to modify the spacing on that's coming towards the trailing edge. So how am I going to do that? Just very simple stuff. Just go to ratio 2, because I know the direction of the arrow is in this way. So ratio 2, 1.2, 20% reduction, and this spacing is 0.009 at the moment. I want it to be 0.0001 or something, but that's too much. 0.001, that's also too much. Maybe 0.1, it's a bit too much. Okay, 0.05. Oh, that doesn't work as well. 0.001, 2, 5. So we can see it's not like you know all the numbers, but just have to keep trying until you get the right value. I'm quite happy with that, but here we have, again, when we think about it, here we have very small cells, which is transferring data to the rotation button is not working very well, so transferring data to these small cells in the tip, much smaller ones in the tip. But if we consider any flow that's going to flow span-wise due to some asymmetry or something, then we have, for any reason, to be honest, we have these cells quite small and these ones quite long in the z direction. We can fix that by playing with the spacings again. Accidentally clicked one. Okay. So we have 100 nodes here, which is quite good, but we want it to be in towards the, I know my spacing here was 0.005, so I'm going to select 0.007 something, 0.007 in both spacing 1 and spacing 2, and we can just click pre-mesh now, update the mesh. Okay, so now we have something that looks a lot better than what we started with. So in this direction the cell size is decreasing gradually. In this direction also there's not much of a big jump, and in this direction also it's an okay jump compared to the one we started it. So when we do this domain and splitting and all those things, we already have a fluid zone and there will be a volume mesh already defined. If I go and do pre-mesh scan plans and go to select and just select a plan, it's already showing me that there is a volume mesh. But since we did not set any edge parameters, I can just turn on the internal edges and just say that this is going to be 20 and this is going to be, it's going to be much more than 20, but for this tutorial purpose we're just going to be using 20 and 20 here as well. Okay, if I click pre-mesh now, okay, and click the edges off and double click the same scan plan. See, the divisions in this way has increased, so I have to do similar kind of thing for in all directions basically. So up, down, so so change to 20. So when you change one thing here, you're copying it to all the parallel edges in that block, and in this direction as well, 20, this direction 20. So everything looks pretty good. I can just go click update the scan plan, and this is what we have. Since we haven't deleted the solid block inside, we have the inside of the wing meshed as well, but let's just play with the spacings a bit more before we do that. So these edges are coming towards the wing, and I can decrease their spacing by 1.2 and spacing to be something like 1 or maybe 0.1. Apply. Yeah, that's good enough for now, and click this direction. Well, let me turn this scan plan off just to make things a bit more visible. So here the spacing 1 is needs to be smaller, so it will be 0.1, and ratio 1 will be 1.2, so 20% increase. And same thing goes for this one as well, so it's spacing 2, which we want to be in, make it smaller, 0.1, ratio 2, 1.1, click apply. Okay, we've done that. Quickly do this one. Spacing 1.1, ratio 2, 1.1, click apply. And we've done that. This one, spacing 1.1, ratio 1.1. Okay. You can also use this match edges. I'll show you how to do it later after we put the all grid around the block. Okay, so here it's going to be ratio 2, which is, sorry, spacing 2, which is going to be smaller, so 0.1, ratio to 1.2, I think. Okay, so that means we should have something a lot better now, and I'm just going to turn off the edges and click on that scan plan. Okay, so we have a good kind of much better internal grid. This spacing is 0.1, but it needs to match this spacing. This is too big, but because we are going to put an OR grid around it, at the moment it's an H grid, because if you see it, it's like coming like this, and there is no all kind of cells, all type cells surrounding the capturing the boundary there. So that's quite important for aerodynamics, to capture the boundary there. And how we're going to do that is, I still haven't deleted the solid wing, so we can do that easily just before deleting the inside of the wing. We can just go ahead and say split block, create an OR grid around the blocks with a ratio of 1.2. so this ratio is not something that we know, but we can play around, see what happens. I usually start with 1.2 and select the blocks in the wing, solid wing, accept, and click apply. See what happens. Okay, so that ratio was too big for this domain, so I did just click undo, and I'm going to use 0.2. It's still big, still too big, so I'm going to just use 0.05. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that, or maybe not. Maybe one more time I'll do it, 0.01. Click apply. Yeah, so too small. 0.02. Apply. Okay, now I have an OR grid around the wing, which is quite what we actually want. So now we can just go ahead and click delete. We don't need the inside of the wing anymore. Delete the solid wing. Okay, now if I go and click pre-mesh, that scan plan. But before I do that, let's just set some edge parameters. Maybe this one. So I'm going to put 30 layers here, 30 nodes, and I want the spacing 2 to be the Y plus value, which is calculated from the Y plus computer. Okay, Facebook. Great. So it can be varying according to the Reynolds number and reference time. I've heard this so many times from me now, so I'm just going to make put any number now, so just like 0.0001 or something. Apply, and then I can use the match edges to match this edge to this edge, and then it will match the spacing, which is then we can copy this one from starting from this one. We can copy to all the parallel edges and click apply, and all the spacings in every other parallel edge has changed. Repeat the same thing for, so a lot of repetition, a lot of patience. Click apply. This one, and click apply, and even here from this edge. So you kind of have to think how the edge is going into the, so I know that this edge matches this edge, so I'm selecting this as my source and this is my target. So if I click here and then click apply to all the parallel edges, and kind of do the same things for the ones going down as well, click apply and bam, apply, and that copy to all the edges going down. Now we have only one or two directions left, which is edges going out this way, and so all these edges in the O grid are parallel to each other, so we don't need to worry about that, because if I go ahead and select this edge, it's just going to, sorry, that's the wrong one, so the one's coming towards the wing, so this one, all of these edges are parallel to each other, even on this side, the one's highlighted in red color, so that's pretty cool, I think. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and match the edges to from these two. You can just select any in that direction and just copy the parameters from that to the rest of them in that direction. Okay, I think this one's done as well. Yeah, it's done, and this one's up. Up is not done yet. So let's do up. This is wrong. From here to here. So the ones coming as O grid rather than the ones in that's defined here. So the ones coming towards the wing is the source, and the target will be the ones above or to the side of them. Okay, so I'm just going to click apply, and that copies all the edge distribution to every other edge in going up. I'm quite happy with that, and I'm going to do pre-mesh. Just save my thing before I do anything stupid, and just go to where's that thing, scan plans, pre-mesh scan plans, and select the same plan again. Okay, so now we have something that looks a lot better. Usually this spacing here is much smaller, but I did not worry about that for now, so just turn on the solid view. This is what it looks like. All these divisions and all these spacings needs to be much finer and more taken more care of. I mean, for real. I mean, this is fine, but you're probably gonna need to put more points everywhere just to capture the whole domain quite well. But we have something that's that we can use. Let's have a scan plan. So if I turn on the off the pre-mesh now and just do the same scan plan again, you'll see the inside of the wing is hollow now. So that happened when we deleted the solid block, and we have also cells coming in that direction, which is great too. Quite good transition. Not too large jumps from big cell to small cell. Before it used to be like really big cells in this direction and then to a very small cell. Okay, so the OR grid is working very well. I hope you understand the use of it now, and we can also have a view in this direction too from the top. So this is the cut plane or the scan plane in that direction. So towards the wing, towards where we are important, the cells get smaller. To keep that in mind, and click done, and just go check the quality. And when you do 3D configurations, it's never going to be of very high quality. There's always going to be places where there will be 0 elements in the start, because you are most likely to have made some mistakes. But luckily we only have few elements, so if you always have to go and okay, so I'll just wait for unselecting. You have to, at the start when you press quality and apply, you have to always reset it, and you can see if there's any negative elements here. I'm saying getting minus 0.99, so some elements are very low quality, and I can just click here and then it will show me where those elements are. So now I can just click zoom to fit, and I see that they are in my, if I turn on my curves, I know they're not on the solid surface of the wing. So this is what happened. Some spacings didn't work. Let's just turn on some more cells to see what's. So it's mostly on some bad elements on this side of the wing. Every other thing is okay. Let me quickly try and fix that. So edges. So what happened there? We can just. So basically, what happens is. Okay, let me just do that again. Quality, apply, 0 elements. So they are really thin cells and very long cells in this direction. So when you refine the mesh, also these kind of problems disappear, since we have a coarse mesh. We kind of have a distorted, so it might be coming from the okay. So it's definitely nothing to do with the surface mesh, because the surface mesh seems like it doesn't have similar kind of shape. So it's something to do with the internal edges. Okay. Seems like some of these edges. Reset, and I want to see the other negative elements where they are. So everything is wrong inside. Not everything is wrong. I mean, everything that's wrong is inside this block. What I'm going to do is just click down and just go to blocking, index control, and select from here to So I just want to concentrate on maybe put a bit more there, yeah, just on this blocking zone. Now I can go and pre-mesh scan plans and to see what's wrong. So that seems okay to me, but on this side there's not enough space for the cells to be to move. That's the main problem. So we can move some of these edges. Basically, that's all we need to do. So it's a lot of repetition kind of thing. What I'm going to do is just move them in the X direction. These vertices here and these vertices here, and see what happens. Quick update. Okay, I definitely have something that's a bit better now, but still a bit constrained on this side. I can improve that if I move these nodes as well. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that has improved stuff a lot better, but still these cells here, this corner basically is not very great, so we have to move in Y direction. I haven't done that. Okay, so let's try and see what it is like now. Okay, definitely a lot better. If we go into quality, I hope it is, and I want to see if anything happened. Okay, so we have now changed from minus 0.99 to plus 0.1 almost report, from 0 to 1, except yeah, so we removed all the negative elements and everything, so we have a good mesh. So that's how you just move the points and you just play around, think how the block is, whether, I mean, if I pull this one up in the Y direction, it will be more appropriate, because this block then will have a better shape then, because it's a bit distorted here. So you have to think about how the blocks are formed from the edges and try to make it as much as square as possible. And I'm just going to click done and blocking index control and reset everything. Reset. Okay. Let's just convert this to an unstructured mesh, because the tutorial has gone over 34 minutes. And edit mesh. So now it's an unstructured mesh when it says current loading domain hexa uns.uns means an unstructured file. So I'm just going to check a quality again using the unstructured meshing. So sometimes the things that are not captured in the pre-mesh in the blocking section is captured in the unstructured quality criteria. We'll talk more about how to improve the skewness, the aspect ratio, the orthogonality, and stuff like this it looks quite acceptable to me at the moment. But when we reduce that boundary layer cells coming uh, inwards and reduce the spacing to something like 1 to the power minus 5, we'll have this bar pushed in this way. So we'll have to do some more clustering and putting more nodes and playing around. But it's all about experimentation. So that's it for this tutorial.